So Scott Robertson has just announced his All Blacks squad for the matches up against England as well as Fiji, and there are a few bolters in there. Few notable names missing out though. We will also be talking about that in this video. If you're wondering why I have headphones on, we just did the live stream of the announcement. I forgot to take them off, so I guess now's probably the best time to do it. But looking through, first of all, at the forwards, it is Asafa Moore, Cody Taylor, and George Bell as the hookers. Now, George Bell was the bolter that I mentioned in my original squad prediction. He is a Crusaders boy. He's also only going to be mid-20s by the time that the next World Cup does roll around. So a very strong option for the future, as opposed to a Ricky Riccatelli, who is currently in great form and might feel a little bit hard done by to miss out. For the selection in the props, we did see a bit of a surprise in this department. We saw Ethan de Groot, Tyrell Lomax, Fletcher Null, Basilio Tossi. I don't think many people were even picking that man as a possibility of making it into this All Black side. Ofa Tuangafasi and Tamaiti Williams. So going with 6 props, a lot of people predicting the 5, but they want that extra grunt. So they've got Basilio Tossi, the man who plays for the Hurricanes. He is the one who scored in Golden Point up against the Reds, and he's got a lot of ability, definitely in those scrums. So I'm curious to see who they partner him up with in the English series. Then in the locks, this was where there was a bit of a surprise, and that was the fact that they've only got 3 locks in the side. Scott Barrett, who is also captain, it was announced, Tupavai and Patrick Tuipulotu. Now that man had an outstanding Super Rugby Pacific final. Tuipulotu, Tupavai, of course, also playing in that game, just not on the winning side. But Barrett is captain, interesting choice. A lot of people thinking it would be Savia, but Savia is vice-captain alongside Geordie Barrett. And moving on to those loose forwards, it is Ethan Blackadder. Hasn't had a huge amount of minutes this season, so you'd think he'd be relatively fresh as long as he can avoid another injury. Samapeni Finau, Luke Jacobson, Dalton Papali'i, Adi Savia, and Wallace Satiti. Now that man has had quite the finish to his Super Rugby Pacific season, and I believe that that is one of the reasons that he has been selected in this All Black side. He's got a lot of potential, made a huge amount of tackles in important moments, and had important moments throughout the few games at the end of the season, like I mentioned. But of course, when we're talking about number 8s, there is one missing, and that is Hoskins Satutu. Now, it hasn't been confirmed the reason behind Satutu missing out. Some people have said that he's having surgery on an injury, but I don't know if that is actually correct. We get told that on the live stream chat, but you can't always believe what is said on the internet, so we'll have to wait and see whether or not that is any substance behind it. But 12 tries throughout a Super Rugby season didn't get him the spot in the ABs. Also missing out in that loose forward trio, the likes of Peter Lakai, who I thought was very strong, and I actually picked him as a possible bolter. Braden Yossi and no Cullen Grace in there as well. Looking through at the backs, Finley Christie, TJ Perenara, and also Cortez Aratama will have his debut for the All Blacks. Perenara, the experienced head that they've got available. Finley Christie, that was at the expense of Folau Fakatava. I think Christie's end to the season was probably what boosted him up a little bit ahead of Fakatava. And unfortunately, it's one of those scenarios that when your side's not playing in those playoff games, I know it shouldn't matter, but it does kind of play on the selectors' minds when you're seeing Christie playing each week, and Fakatava, you have to remember back to what he did throughout the season. So, yeah, he's a little bit unlucky there, Fakatava, but I'm sure he'll get some opportunities in the future. The fly halves, they have gone with Bowden Barrett and Damien McKenzie. Now, interestingly enough, they went with a fullback in the outside backs, that being Stephen Perafeta, but he was listed as the outside backs, whereas Bowden Barrett listed as the fly half. I'm wondering whether or not, though, maybe Bowden plays a bit of 15 throughout the series, or whether he's just confined to that number 10. In the centres, Geordie Barrett, like I mentioned, one of the vice-captains, Rico Ioane, Anton Leonard-Brown, and Billy Proctor is the 4th man who gets in. That does mean that Quinn Tupaia is one who wasn't selected there. Then in the outside backs, Caleb Clark, Imoni Narawa, Stephen Perafeta, Sevu Reece, and also Mark Talia. Now, I was called an idiot for selecting all 4 of those men in my original squad prediction, but it actually happened. So I feel like at the time I didn't realize that they would actually go with all 4. I said that I couldn't decide. I thought that maybe one of them would be taken out, but they've gone with all 4 of them. So I'll be interested to see how they shape up with who is out on each wing. I know that Caleb Clark is your left winger. I'd say that Amoni Narawa is the right winger, and then Severis and Mark Talia, maybe Talia right wing, Severis left wing, might be the way that they do it. But that is the All Blacks squad, ladies and gentlemen. Do let me know in the comments down below what you think of this squad, who you're disappointed to not see in that lineup, and also who you're looking forward to the most for seeing in that All Blacks jersey. But thank you all very much for tuning in. We will have a video coming out in the future of us giving our All Blacks XV, who we think will be in the starting lineup, and our opinion for the English games, as well as the one up against the Flying Fijians. But thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all for the next one.